Your Jenkins master is OOM-killed every 48 hours. The culprit? The ThinBackup plugin storing 30 daily backups inside the container. Let's break down Jenkins Backup Recovery, how it works, and the exact mistake behind that failure. Think of Jenkins as a chef's kitchen. Your Jenkins home is the pantry, fridge, and recipe book all in one. If the kitchen burns down, you need a copy of the recipe book, the pantry inventory, and the chef's notes. A good backup strategy is like having a second kitchen ready to go, same layout, same ingredients, same recipes. Here's what you must back up: jobs directory with each job's config, XML, plugins directory with JPI files and plugins, XML, secrets directory for credentials and master key, users, nodes, and the root config, XML. What you can skip: workspace, builds if you don't need history and logs. This script backs up only the critical directories and root config files using rsync. It excludes workspace and builds to keep the backup lean. Run this as a cron job for a simple file-level backup. The ThinBackup plugin is the de facto standard for Jenkins backups. It's lightweight, supports incremental backups, and can push to remote locations. But it has sharp edges. The default configuration backs up everything including workspaces unless you explicitly exclude them. Always use the pause Jenkins before backup option to avoid file locks. This XML snippet configures ThinBackup with an external backup directory, daily full and hourly incremental schedules, exclusion of workspace and builds, and pausing Jenkins before backup. Set max number of backups to control retention. Local backups are useless if the server room floods. Use a cron job with Amazon Web Services Simple Storage Service Sync to push backups to Simple Storage Service with versioning enabled. This gives you fast local restore for small failures and durable remote backup for catastrophic events. This script syncs the local backup directory to Simple Storage Service with the delete flag to mirror local state. It excludes temp files and workspaces. Always enable Simple Storage Service versioning to protect against accidental deletion. When disaster strikes, follow this exact sequence. Provision a new Jenkins server with the same OS and Jenkins version. Install the same plugins using the plugins, XML from your backup. Do not start Jenkins yet. Copy your backup Jenkins home over the fresh installation, fix permissions, then start Jenkins. This script stops Jenkins, backs up the fresh Jenkins home, copies the backup, fixes permissions, and starts Jenkins. It then checks if the login page is accessible to confirm success. Full backups copy everything every time. They're simple but wasteful. Incremental backups only copy changed files. ThinBackup supports differential backups. Always run a weekly full backup and verify its integrity. I've seen teams lose weeks of job configs because their monthly full backup failed silently. This script verifies backup integrity by checking for critical files, counting job configs, checking size, and validating XML. Automate this after each backup and alert on failure. ThinBackup is great for small to medium instances, but for large-scale deployments with thousands of jobs, it becomes slow. Alternatives include file system snapshots for near-instant backups or storing job configs in version control with Jenkins Job DSL. This script creates an LVM snapshot, mounts it read-only, backs up via rsync, and removes the snapshot. It's atomic and fast, ideal for tight backup windows. This is the same issue we highlighted at the start. Here's exactly why that happened. The ThinBackup plugin was configured to keep 30 daily backups inside the container. Each backup was about 150 MB. After 30 days, the container's 4 GB memory limit was exceeded because the backup process loaded the entire Jenkins home into memory before writing. The OOM killer struck during the backup window. The ThinBackup plugin was configured to keep 30 daily backups inside the container, each ~150 MB, causing the backup process to load the entire Jenkins home into memory and exceed the 4 GB limit. The fix was straightforward. Change backup retention to 7 days, move the backup target to an external NFS mount, add a cron job to rsync backups off container, and set Jenkins memory limit to 8 GB with XMX4G. Never store backups inside the Jenkins container. Storing backups inside the Jenkins container is a common mistake. The backup process loads the entire Jenkins home into memory before writing, and with high retention, it can exceed memory limits. Always back up to external storage. The secret key file must match the original master. If you lose it, all credentials become undecryptable. Store a copy of secret.key in a secure vault separate from the backup. Simple Storage Service Sync with delete will remove files from Simple Storage Service that no longer exist locally. If your local backup directory gets corrupted, the next sync will delete your remote backups too. Mitigation. Enable Simple Storage Service versioning. The ThinBackup plugin's XML configuration shown in this article uses the backup build results tag, which was introduced in version 1.3.0. If you are using an older version, pre-1.3.0, this tag will be ignored and build records will not be backed up. Always check the plugin version against your Jenkins core version to avoid silent failures. The article mentions restoring a single job, but does not show the code. Use this snippet to extract and restore a specific job's config, XML from a backup archive without restoring the entire instance. The article mentions excluding build records to save space, but the real-world trade-off is often about restore time. For large instances with thousands of builds, restoring build records can take hours and may not be needed if artifacts are stored externally, e.g., in an artifact repository. Only include build records if you need historical build logs or compliance data. To diagnose backup issues, check the number of job configs, backup size, and validate XML files. Automate this check after each backup and alert on failure. Always test your restore process quarterly on a staging instance. Let's run through some common interview questions. How does Jenkins handle file locks during backup? Use file system snapshots or quiet mode. When to choose ThinBackup over snapshots. For granular, selective backups with incremental support. What happens if secret key is lost? Credentials become undecryptable, restore from vault or re-enter. And a few frequently asked questions. How to back up a single job? Copy config. XML from job/jobname/ or use Jenkins CLI get job. Difference between ThinBackup and Simple Storage Service Backup plugin? ThinBackup supports Incremental. Simple Storage Service plugin is simpler. How to restore a single job from backup? Extract config, XML, and reload configuration from disk. To wrap up, backup Jenkins home excluding workspace and caches. Use ThinBackup or LVM snapshots for consistency. Always include secret.key. Without it, credentials are unrecoverable. And test your restore process quarterly because a backup you can't restore is worthless. Ready to go deeper? Up next, Linux command line basics, then Linux file system, then Linux file permissions. Find them all at TheCodeForge.io. Thanks for watching. The full article and code examples are covered in detail at TheCodeForge.io.